Happy day to all. Today I am going to complete control and coordination. Last part. So last video you would have seen plant hormones, starting with the hormonal. I have given an introduction. Now we are going to proceed with the plant hormones. What are hormones? They are chemical secretions made by plants for the betterment of the plant, that is for better growth and development of the plants. And what all are the plant hormones that are released? They are auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins, ethylene and abscisic acid. So when we see the plant hormones, they are of two types. One, they enhances the growth of the plant and they are termed as growth promoters. And some, they inhibit the growth of the plants and they are termed as growth inhibitors. And out of this growth promoters, they are auxins, cytokinins and gibberellins. And the growth inhibitor, it comes under the abscisic acid. Next we'll see what are auxins. So they are produced or seen producing at the tip part in the presence of sunlight and helps in the cell division and then the elongation. So for the growth of the plant, auxins are required. And the next one is the gibberellins, where these gibberellins, they help in the growth of the stem, which results in the increase of the size of the fruit or the flower, how it grows. That is, we could see that one day what is the size of the fruit, it differs. Same way flowers also, from bud to the blooming part. Day by day you can see the increase, and it happens by means of gibberellins. And the third one, they are the cytokinins, where cyto means cell division, that enhances and helps in the growth of the plant cells or new tissues, or to form a new shoot system or the root part and so on. Helps in the cell division, and also it delays the aging part and helps the root to transport nutrients, or regulating the transport of nutrients is being done by the cytokinins. And the inhibition part we have reached, where ethylene, which is the only gaseous plant hormone, where it is involved in the plant response towards the environmental stress, like a drought or extreme condition, hot condition, or any response to the infection, or any cut in the plant, or any mechanical pressure the plant is undergoing. So also influences a wide range of developmental process, which includes the shoot elongation, and then the ripening of fruit, seed germination, and leaf abscission, as well as senescences. That is drying and falling off. And the last hormone that we can see is the abscisic acid, and it inhibits the growth of the plant, which act against the first two hormones, that is the auxins and gibberellins, which in turn helps in the growth of the plant. And this abscisic acid is the one which helps the plant to shred the toxic substance that have been getting accumulated in the plant leaf part, and results in the wilting of leaves. So next we should see, that is how coordination in human beings takes place by means of, we have seen coordination by means of the two different types of that is the nervous system present in our body, with the brain coordinating with the nervous system and then the brain. Again, the second set of coordination that takes place in human beings for the growth and development of that organism is its endocrine system. So it helps in the chemical coordination in human beings, and all endocrine glands together, they form the endocrine system. So the cells of or the glands, they produce chemical substances, and they are termed as hormones. These endocrine glands, they secrete hormone into the blood, and they are being carried by the blood to specific organs of the body. And we have learned in the transportation of the human blood circulation, we have clearly learned the function of blood. One among is the transportation of the released hormone to make it reach the targeted organs. So now I would like to compare both endocrine gland and exocrine gland. So what is an endocrine gland and what is an exocrine gland? So endocrine glands are those glands which secretes and then it need a medium for carrying the released chemicals to the targeted organs, and we call it as the endocrine glands, which will be released into the bloodstream, and it need to be carried by the blood to the targeted organs. And all hormones which helps in the growth of an organism, as well as different activities that takes place in our body, life processes that takes place in our body, are being controlled by different hormones are released by different organ, and that will be carried by the bloodstream transport system to the targeted organs. Whereas the exocrine glands, they secrete substances through a duct, like salivary glands. They have a duct, salivary duct, through that it is released in the mouth. Next we have the bile, which is present inside the liver and helps in the emulsification of fat. And so here what takes place, or in the pancreas, insulin. So which the pancreatic juice, insulin is a different thing when we compare with the exocrine glands and then the endocrine glands, where the other secretions present in the pancreas helps in the secretion, which need a duct for the movement of those materials into a particular stream. So now we will go on or go through the endocrine glands. So they secrete their products directly into the blood, and they are otherwise called as ductless glands, where there is no connection between the gland and then the targeted organs. So as a result, what takes place? So once the endocrine gland releases its secretion, it will be carried forward through the blood to the targeted organs. So there is no ducts seen. That is why they are called as ductless glands. And some of the examples that we can see the endocrine glands present in our body, it is the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, islets of Langerhans, which is present in the pancreas, testis, as well as the ovaries. These are all the endocrine glands present in our body. First, we will move on to the hypothalamus, which is present inside the brain, you can see, where the part of it has been present in the brain, which link the nervous system and then the endocrine system. And they release hormones, which helps in the controlled hormone secretion from the pituitary gland. That is the releasing hormones function. Next, it is the pituitary gland that is present. So the pituitary gland, it is located in the brain. It is just beneath the hypothalamus. it is termed as the master gland because it regulates hormones that secretes from other endocrine glands. So that is why uh, pituitary gland is otherwise called as the master gland. And it has got two lobes, the anterior lobe as well as the posterior lobe will be present, and mainly the major function of these hormones is to aid the growth of that organism, and they start producing growth hormones, the trophic hormones, the prolactin hormone, antidiuretic hormone, and oxytocin, where it helps in maintaining the water stability in our body as well as helps in the muscular movement also. Next, it is the pineal gland, which is present in the middle part um, of the brain, where it produces melatonin. Melatonin is required for regulating the sleep of an organism, or sleep wake up cycle are being regulated by the hormone melatonin, and it is being secreted by the pineal gland. So the next gland is the gland that we could see near the thigh, that is, we call it as the thyroid gland, which is present at the base of the larynx on either side of the trachea or the windpipe. And what are the hormones released by them? So the hormone released by them, it is the first one is the thyroxine. Thyroxine, which helps in the cellular metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins as well as fat, and calcitonin to regulate the calcium as well as the phosphate level in the blood. Also, it decreases its level when it goes up. That is the calcitonin, when the calcium increases or the phosphate increases in the blood, that will be regulated by this hormone. Next, just attached to the thyroid gland, we have a parathyroid gland, which has got that is the small, here you can see 4 dot like structure which is seen on the dorsal surface of the thyroid gland, and they release the hormone parathormone, where what is the function? It regulates again the calcium phosphate level in the blood, also increases the level when it goes down. So that is the function of parathyroid gland. And the next gland is the thymus gland, which is seen in the mediastinum. Yeah, we have learned, no? The heart is situated between the sides of the lungs in the thoracic cavity, and that place we call it as the mediastinum. So, so this thymus gland, it is a more useful, or mostly in a larger amount, bigger manner it is seen in infants when compared to the adults. So it gets atrophied in adults. So in infants it is 70 gram, and once we attain the adulthood, it moves or it comes down to the 3 gram in the weight, and it is a two-lobed organ where it produces the thymosin, that is helps in fighting against any microbial attack that takes place in our body, or why increase of T lymphocytes or the white blood cells, and also helps in the maturity of the white blood cells for fighting against the microbial organism that is entering our body. So the next gland is the adrenal glands. So here, which is seen on top, on the anterior part of the kidneys, we could see a pair of adrenal glands. And these adrenal glands has got two parts, where it is adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla, and they secretes a hormone called as adrenaline and corticoids. And major function is metabolism of carbohydrate, protein as well as the fat, and also it can regulate the heart rate as well as the blood pressure. So that is why it is otherwise termed as emergency hormones, where these hormones are mostly prepared during any in an emergency situation. That is why it is otherwise termed as emergency hormone. So next, which is seen in the pancreas, we call it as the islets of Langerhans, which is again a part of endocrine part of the pancreas, because this is the gland pancreas which act as both the endocrine gland and the exocrine gland, which is situated just below the stomach. And here the endocrine gland, they produces insulin, where excess glucose present in our blood will get converted to glycogen and then store that in the liver. That is the function of insulin. And as a result, it lowers the blood glucose level. So glucagon, that is another hormone which increases the blood glucose level. Whenever there is a deficiency of a glucose level in the blood, the stored glycogen need to get converted back to glucose and make it available by us. For that, this glucagon functions. Insulin as well as glucagon perform the opposite roles. Now you would have understood that insulin, it lowers the blood glucose level, whereas glucagon, it increases the blood glucose level based on our need. And the next one, they are the ovaries and testes, which is located in the pelvic cavity of the abdomen of male as well as the female. So the female, we have the ovary, which is situated in the pelvic cavity, which secretes the hormone estrogen as well as the progesterone. And the major function of estrogen and progesterone is the development of the secondary sexual characters in a female, or development of the genital organs, as well as the secondary growth or the secondary sexual character development will be taking place by means of this estrogen and progesterone, which maintains pregnancy too. So the next one is the testis, which is seen in the male reproductive part or present in the scrotum in males, and which is the hormone secreted by the testis. It is the testosterone. And like a female, here the testosterone helps in the development of the male genital organs and also the secondary sexual character in men. So we need to see, we have seen different hormones and its working and its function. Now we should see whether if it is there any effect on our body when it is not being produced in a proper manner. If there is a deficiency of that hormone, or if there is an excess secretion of hormone, whether our body will work in a proper manner. So we should say no. So the hormone, if it is present more or less, more or less than the desired amount, it can be a harmful thing for our body, especially hormone like growth hormones. So hypoactivity, which will cause, that is the less production of growth hormone will result in dwarfism. So you would have seen small jokers in the circus. So they are they get their stature because of the hypoactivity of the growth hormone, and they attain to reach dwarfism. And if it is hyperactivity, it causes a huge figure, 3 to 4 times more than us, we should say, which can cause gigantism. And if it is insulin, if it is hypersecretion, that is a less secretion, which results in the diabetes mellitus. And thyroid, that is abnormal thyroid hormone production. We call it as hyperthyroid. Hyper means more, hypo means less. It can cause retinism, that is retarded growth, physical retarded growth, mental growth of the child. Mentally retarded children is due to the thyroid hormone abnormality in the production of thyroid hormone in the young age or in children. And again the iodine is required for the production of thyroxine, and the lack of iodine in our food which can cause a disease called goiter. Here you can see the image of goiter, swelling up of neck due to the malfunctioning of thyroid gland. So these are some of the effect of deficiency or excess secretion of hormones when it takes place in our body. Thank you.